My name is Lindzi O'Connor. I haven't always been a Christian. I was brought up in an Anglican home, I suppose, we were encouraged to go to church, we were encouraged to take an active part in the Sunday school. I had a nice life. I was loved and I lived in a stable home. In my teenage years, I was quite rebellious, but not to any great extent. But my life changed when I was 17, when I was in a car crash with my best friend, and I had to watch her die at my feet in an upturned car. And I was scared, I was petrified, but I didn't want to leave her. But I had to get out of the car because we thought the car was going to catch light. And I think that sort of paved the way for a lot of my anger over later years, because I felt that I had let her down, that I was angry at myself, but I turned that anger onto God. I became quite destructive. I didn't do well at college. I didn't do very well in any jobs that I got. I started to do a few drugs, experiment with that. I had quite a destructive sex life, and really my whole life was falling to pieces. And then when I was about 21, everybody around me seemed to become Christians. Everything that I hated, and I was so angry at God because I felt he had taken my best friend away, everybody around me was turning to him. So I started to look, and I started to go to church with them. Not to look for God, but to show my anger at God. I started to challenge him. I started to challenge everything everybody said and do all of that sort of thing. And I was actually quite an annoyance. My sister begged me not to go. And then one night I was in a pub. And I'd obviously been talking about this to the people behind the bar. And they said to me, well, if you feel like that, why don't you go and do it? And I thought, well, do what? Well, you've been talking about God all night. Why don't you go and do it? So I thought, right, okay. It was like a light that had been switched on in my life. So I grabbed the boyfriend at the time. I drove him home. We sat in the car quite quietly on the way. And as I dropped him off, he said to me, I'm not going to see you again, am I? And I thought, no, you're not. So I said goodbye, and I drove round to my cousin's house, who was a Christian, and I knocked at his door about midnight, and I said to him, I want to be a Christian, what do I do? So that night, we knelt on the kitchen floor, and we said the prayer of salvation. And I've been back to see those friends since, but not as I was, but as a Christian. Now, many of those wanted to terminate the friendship, but others have since become Christian themselves. And my life has completely turned around since those days. I don't want to go back. I like what I have. I've been a leader of a Christian motorbike group. I've preached to bikers. I've been into prisons and preached to the prisoners. I've seen my husband saved. I've been given custody of some beautiful children. I've done some wonderful, I've even received wonderful healing. But my life continues, and it is a journey, and I'm excited by what God has for me. It's not always been easy, but it's been wonderful.